Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to a book bracket battle of everything that I have read or started reading so far this year, because book brackets don't work when the numbers is 24. You have to find 8 more books to talk about. So that's what we're going to do today. Anyways, hello, welcome. Let me know what you are currently reading, because we'll probably chat a little bit about what y'all are up to. I'm currently reading The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. That's what I've been working on today. Really enjoyed that book. Having a lot of fun with it. Anyways, it's a reread, but so let's get into it. I'm going to pop us over to people voted to do stats. So we're going to start with stats. If you don't like this and you're watching this back, I will have gone through and done timestamps. In fact, let me grab this so I can write times down. I'll have gone through and done timestamps so that you can skip to me talking about the books that I've read so far this year. But let's take a look at what my stats are. Let's see. This is my StoryGraph because StoryGraph does the best stats. This is 90% of the reason why I have StoryGraph in the first place, but not the greatest reading year for me so far. It's not terrible. It's still more than a lot of people read, but not my best reading year ever. I'm not even sure what that is. I'd have to go on Goodreads to see that. I've zoomed in a bit so you guys can see stuff, hopefully. But out of my 100-book goal, I'm currently at 24 books, which means I'm 30 books behind, which is not normal for this time of year. Usually I am maybe 3 or 4 books behind, maybe 10 books behind at this point in the year, but it is what it is. I've been in a massive reading slump this year. So it is what it is. All right, let's take a look. So the moods always are interesting to me because I will put multiple moods for a single book. So excuse me. So are we dealing with multiple books? I think we're dealing with multiple books counting for multiple moods. Clearly, I've been doing a lot of adventurous books. That makes sense. I've been reading a lot of, you'll see later, I've been reading a lot of fantasy, a lot of funny books. That also makes sense. Emotional, mysterious, and lighthearted. I haven't been getting very deep with my books this year. So let's see. What is the least are challenging, informative, and sad. I mean, sad makes sense. I don't like sad. What book was this? Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That was actually a very good book, though. We'll talk about it, and it's informative. I'm betting I know which one this is. Yep. I'm just curious at this point. And challenging. Which one is it going to be? It's going to be Feeding the Machine. I would say that The Bluest Eye is also very challenging. So, but that's okay. Pacing. Most of the books are medium paced. Not a lot of fast paced books, not a lot of slow paced, but one single slow paced book. That makes sense. I've been reading a lot of short books. And obviously short books tend to have faster pacing. Haven't really dug into any proper tomes. I swear to God, if the lawn people decide that they're going to do the lawn early today, I'm going to be mad because I specifically went around when my neighbors get their lawn done. Let's see, fast-paced books. Yep, that makes sense. I'm already giving you a spoiler into what I've read so far this year. My bad. Page number 38%, less than 300. Oh, you can't see because I didn't switch back over. Page number. So 38% is less than 300. The 300 to 499, 46%, so about half. And then 500 plus, about 4. Okay. One single nonfiction. If you guys watched my mid-year check-in tags, which I'll have linked down below, if y'all watched my mid-year check-in tags, I was supposed to have read 3 nonfiction by this point, specifically from my shelves. So not only have I only read 1 nonfiction, it is not one that was from my shelves. You know what? Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to pop this across the bottom. There we are. All right, back to stats. We're almost done, I think. Now, genres, here's the thing. The only thing I don't like about Storygraph is like the genres, these can be like 15 fantasy, obviously. I've read more than double fantasy, which, like, here's the thing. Some of that fantasy I've read is young adult. So like we're doing double duty here, and that annoys me. Also, young adult is not a genre. That's a whole other conversation. So 15 fantasy. My next most read genre is historical, which is at 5. I guess Emily Wilde. Emily Wilde counts as 5. Okay, we've got romance, literary, and horror. And comics. Okay, very nice. Hello, welcome. Welcome, everybody. So, did they put... Yeah, they did put a single middle grade. That's Percy Jackson. All right, so genre breakdown. I'm not going to look at format because I don't think I've gone through to make sure that the formats are correct on all of these, because I forget that's a thing you can do on Storygraph. And then what have I read by Matt Mercer? Hold on. What have I read by Matt Mercer? Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They're missing one, but it makes sense. I forgot they say he wrote those, which he kind of did. Okay, so most read authors are Margaret Owen, Matt Mercer, Jody Hauser, and Heather Fawcett. What has she written that I read? Once again, Margaret is confused. It's very clear. Okay, again, Critical Role. I'm very confused. How was Matt credited on volumes 1 and 3, but not on volume 2? Anyways, all right, that's enough. That's all of the stats. Oh no, that's what my reading year has looked like. As you can see, we just kind of are I'm not gonna click on numbers because those are embarrassing. And then as far as ratings go, I'm having a pretty decent year because like my lowest value is 3 stars. So I've only had 5 3-star books. I have had 12 4-star books and 7 5-star books. Would that not have, how satisfying? I mean, I would have read a lot less, but it would have been so satisfying if I had 5 3-star books and 3 5-star books, which if we're not counting rereads, I might. So anyway, it's a pretty decent reading year. Okay, that is going to be it for the stats portion. Not my best stats I've ever had. Let's pop this. Let's say hello to some of the people in the chat. We have Anne here. Hey, Anne, reading Misbehaving at the Crossroads by Honorée Fanonne Jeffers. She is also the author of The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. Both are great books. Hey, Brianna, trying to finish up Wild and Wrangled today. Ooh, exciting. That sounds fun. Okay, let me switch this over to the other screen that has my little, hold on. I swear to God, every time I try to use StreamYard, I forget how to use StreamYard. So, okay. Ooh, we like this much better. All right. There you guys go. Let's put this here. So I went through and let me explain this a little bit. So what I did is I went through, I've got all of the books that I have read paired up with each other. And for the most part, I have all of the books that I am currently reading paired up with each other. Not everything that I am currently reading, because there were a couple that I was like, it's been so long that since I picked this up, or I haven't gotten far enough into it to have real thoughts about it. So we're going to start with the books that I am currently reading, starting with The Reformatory by Tananarive Due versus Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yombao. I am almost finished with The Reformatory. This is a really, really good, like, historical horror set in Florida. And it is based on an actual reformatory school that one of Tananarive Due's relatives went to. It is just, it's so weird how she, not weird, but it's so interesting how she's doing like this whole existential kind of ghost horror, and it feels so grounded. I'm loving it. And then we also have Watermoon, which is a fantasy. This is a portal fantasy about a girl whose dad or who has inherited a pawn shop from her father. And this pawn shop is really interesting because like they have people sell regrets. So like you only find this pawn shop if you have regrets that you need to like offload, and otherwise it's a ramen shop. And so people will only find this pawn shop if they need it, and then they'll sell the regret. They'll leave without said regret, not remembering any of that. Yada, yada, yada. And like there's some like people from another world that come and buy these regrets from this woman's father. And then he goes like missing. And it looks like maybe he stole some stuff. So I will say 100% the Reformatory is the better of the two. Okay, Magic for Liars versus Tusk Love. Those are so very different. I think the answer here is going to be Tusk Love. This is really interesting. It's like, it sounds like this one, the main kind of focus is this relationship between two sisters. They are like, there's a murder that happens at the younger sister's school. And so the older sister, who is a PI, goes to said school to solve the mystery or the murder. And she hasn't been there. Did I put all of the ones I was currently reading over on the other side? Apparently. Anyways, they haven't spoken in years. So it's very interesting, like modern noir, magical noir type thing. Tusk Love, I'm at the very beginning of this. It is a like Critical Role romance. It's based on a book. But we've got a young merchant's daughter that is traveling across the country to make a marriage. Caravan gets attacked. A half-orc named Oscar saves her. And right now, they don't like each other because I'm at the very beginning. She thinks he's rude and crass and is also over. It's really funny because she doesn't really like him. She's like, he's very rude and brusque. Won't talk to me. She doesn't like that. But she's also overthinking everything, which is so relatable. It's very funny. She's like, over every single thing. She's like, overthinking everything. I'm like, oh my God, what does he think of me? I'm just like, girl, either you like him or you care about what he thinks of you. You can't do both. So I'm going to pick that one, though, because I know I'm having a great time with it. Ooh, fuck. Why would I pair these? These are also very different. Service Model versus Hungerstone. So, what Hungerstone is, I think it's based on the classic. Hungerstone is a very interesting, like, sapphic vampire historical horror. Very fun. Enjoyed it. Really, really well written. Like, it's written, if you like enjoy the way classics are written, this is like written like a classic, and I really appreciate that. Like the way that she wrote it felt like a novel from the period that the author was basing this novel in, and I don't think it's a retell. Is it I think it might be a retelling of Carmilla. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. And then we have Service Model, which is, I definitely rated Service Model higher, I think. I don't have, it's over here somewhere. Service Model is a kind of post-apocalyptic sci-fi where humans are mostly gone at this point. And we're in a society where robots mostly do everything because that's the way humans set it up. However, the problem is, I don't know, Anne. The problem is that, like, humans still need, in the system, humans still need to approve things to get things done. And all of the humans that have the authority to approve the things have died without replacements. And so basically society is falling apart as this robot, his name is Uncharles, he's a valet. He's murdered his master and he is trying to find new employment. He's been sent to diagnostics. He wants to get diagnosed, like have whatever it was that made him kill his employer, because he has no idea what happened, fixed. And then he wants to go ahead and like get a new employment. And so it's him searching for a new job because he's like, I need a task list. So relatable. He's like, I need a task list. I can't function unless I have a list of tasks to complete. I need a task list. And I don't have one. please read it. It's like it's very funny. It's dark but very funny. It's not really. I wouldn't say it's fast paced. I feel like it's very much like Murderbot meets literary fiction, except no less murder. There's a lot less murder in this. Just the one. It's just actually no, there might be a couple. Anyways, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. I'm gonna vote that one. Ooh, okay. Who made these pairings? I mean, I know which one's going to win, but like, okay, so this is really interesting. Feeding the Machine had a lot of fun with this one. And sort of, I don't know if I would call it fun, but it's basically just this was so good that like I was 2 chapters in and I went and bought it from my local bookstore. It's really good if you want to like dig into more about how AI works and what's going on with it. And like the different parts and blah, blah, blah. It has some really interesting conversations in it about like, what do we need to do to make AI ethical? What is the human cost of AI? And like, they're talking right down to the people that are working at, because AI is not as automated as we think it is. There are a lot of people that are either training the algorithms or having to go through the like opening is just horrific because the opening is following someone who works at Facebook approving videos, and she found out about her father's death via car accident because she had videos come across her feed. That's really hard. Oh, hold on, Anne. Give me just a second. I'm gonna finish this, and then Tempest of Tea. Here's the problem. Here is the problem. It's good. I enjoyed it. I think it's very fast paced. I like the kind of putting together a team Ocean's 11 aspect of it. The ending was a little lackluster for me, and I don't know how much of that was like where I was mentally at the time and how much of that was the book, but the problem is that she really hit it out of the park for me with We Hunt the Flame and We Free the Stars, and A Tempest of Tea is not nearly as good. So, it was still a good time. I still recommend it. I gave it 4 stars, but it was not nearly as good. All right, Feeding the Machine is going to win this one. And then is The School and the Reformatory the same as, well, we know which one's going to win that. The Reformatory is the same as Colson, the same school that Colson Whitehead wrote about in the Nickel Boys. I don't know. Actually, I have not read the Nickel Boys. I know that, hold on, do I have, give me a moment, guys. My nose has decided that it's going to run. And not run bad, but just run enough that it itches. Okay, I don't know. That is a very good question. I'll have to look into that. I haven't finished the Reformatory yet because I'm still waiting for the Reformatory to come back to me from my library. Audiobook is very good, by the way. It is probably going to end up on my best books of the year list. Like there is nothing that I haven't finished is going to make it to like the final countdown, but like it very well, depending on what it comes up against, I probably very well could. Because it's very good. It's looking like 4 or 5 stars. So let's see. Feel free to chime in, by the way, if you have read any of these books. Feel free to chime in either in the chat if you're watching it now or in the comments. Okay, Holy Terrors versus This was not the strongest Vox Machina Origins volume. I had fun with it. Not the strongest volume. See, this is what makes no sense to me. Because Matthew Mercer is credited on the front of all 3 of these, and I know that for a fact. So what's going on, Storycraft? Anyways, it's going to be Holy Terrors because I love Holy Terrors. And yes, I did read Little Thieves and Painted Devils this year, but I didn't put them on here because they're rereads. And if they're rereads, they don't make it onto my, like, I've never put rereads on my best books of the year. But let me put this back up. So I can't really talk about this one because it's Vox Machina, or it's volume 2. But this is one where we get into, if you're a Vox Machina fan, this is one where we get into Grog's backstory. I also can't talk much about Holy Terrors because it's the third book in a trilogy, and there are a lot of spoilers. But suffice to say, I really enjoyed it. If you want more of my thoughts, I will put the sprints that Leandra and I did and the the live show that we did down in the description when we're done here. But Holy Terrors is winning. I didn't think Holy Terrors is going to have any competition for Best Book of the Year this year. However, you will see that it does. You may have already seen that it does. Okay. Aha. Oh, well, you're not winning. I'm so sorry. Look at that. There's Vox Machina Origins. So this is just, no, that's not what I'm thinking of. Yeah, he's credited on all three. Why? Sorry, I'm getting really hung up on this, and I shouldn't be getting hung up on this. So this is the comic book that Critical Role started doing. They're doing comic book series for all of their shows, I believe, at this point. But they started doing with Dark Horse. They did a comic book series for their Vox Machina characters, and they're also doing one for their Mighty Nine characters. I don't think we've had one for Bell's Health yet. Those are their 3 campaigns. I really enjoyed this. I really liked getting to see some of what happened previous to what we see in the campaign / what we see in Legends of Vox Machina, although this was written before the show was produced. I liked being able to see how the group came together. It was fun to kind of think about how that would have worked at the table to an extent, because they didn't all come together all together. And I'm not entirely sure how much that is like them changing the story a little bit. I assume that they changed the story a little bit, because like we don't meet one of the characters in the group who was in the original group until volume 2. Oh, that's right. Volume 2 was really good because of that. But we don't meet him until volume 2. And that would have been really annoying to have to do if you have 6 people at the table. So we also got to like see some of the characters that we didn't get to see in Legends of Vox Machina. But Emily Wilds is going to win this one because I loved Emily Wilds. It got 5 stars. It was so good. It took over my life. This is like so much of what I love, different parts that I love about books. Like this is about a professor that she is making an encyclopedia of fairies, obviously, because of the title. And it was just so fun. Like, I love her narration style. I love very, like, I guess you could call it theatrical narration styles, where it's very much the narrator. This is something that you can see. It's not all first-person narration, but you can see it in first-person narration. It's a very voicey narrator, very much talking to the audience, like breaking the fourth wall. Like, I guess you could say fourth wall types of narration. She also has like footnotes in it, which are really funny and snarky. Like always, it's so funny because like she'll state something and then she'll have a footnote that's like, this is what so and so says about that. It's been disproven by blah 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 blah, and cite like a bunch of fake fairy books that don't exist. I love it. That's winning that one. Okay, this is fitting. Vox Machina is winning this one because I hated this book. All I will say about this was we could have had a polycule. We chose murder. That's what I'll say about it. And I didn't like who the murderer was. Those are my 2 biggest gripes with this. It was going to be such a good book for me otherwise, and that's all I'm going to say. This was fun. I don't remember what happened in it, but I know I had a good time with it. So it's going to be, again, who chose these? So we've got Jackal by Aaron E. Adams versus That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemon. We've got a horror on one end and a romance on the other one. If you know anything about me, the romance is winning. But I do want to talk about Jackal because this was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It draws you in. It's a very, like, I guess you could call it an unreliable narrator because she doesn't, it's not entirely like her that's unreliable. It's about a woman who is at her friend's wedding, and during said wedding, like the reception of the wedding, her friend's daughter goes missing. And she's returned to her small town that she grew up in for this wedding. And she starts to realize that this little girl going missing connects to a bunch of other little Black girls that had gone missing. she starts digging into that. And she's right off of like breaking up, like leaving a abusive relationship, a whole bunch of stuff in her life going wrong. It's a whole thing. She's a mess, and she was so relatable. But it draws you in, grabs you, and also that cover is fucking stunning. Then Kimberly Lemming's book, That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, is a romance, and I had so much fun with this. This one, very much, I feel like Kimberly Lemming probably plays Dungeons and Dragons. I just like the vibes that we got. This is actually a shifter romance, because all of the characters in these are shifters, and she's with a dragon shifter who she finds. They call them demons. I would not call them demons, but they are called demons in that particular world, and it's like a whole bunch of different shifters that are called this, but they're demonized. Because there's a goddess that's like, oh no, they're evil and they want to come in and they want to kill everybody. And she finds out that very much is not the case. And he's pretty cool, but he is under the control of this goddess. And so he's like, hey, I need help. You're going to help me. And then they fall in love. It was fun. I'm going to say that one wins. That side. Okay, other side. Oh, wow, they're making me go through all of the, okay. This is easy. Reformatory is winning this one. Feeding them, what the? I'm looking at the next one that I'm going to have to choose. Not great. Okay, so I really enjoyed Service Model, but I gave it 3 stars. It was not my favorite book. I did not run out to buy it right away. So I feel like that means Feeding the Machine has to win this one by default, because it's my favorite book that I've read recently. Holy Terrors is winning this one. This hurts though. I need you to see, I'm super pissed at Past Margaret. Whoever thought that it was a smart idea to put these two together, which I know was me, don't like it. I don't like it. I have a gripe with that. I'm not happy about it. Anyways, Holy Terrors is winning. Okay, problem here is, this is really good. This is also really good. I really enjoyed both of these. However, one of them has Percy and Vex and one of them does not. So Percy and Vex are winning. Unfortunate, but also very good. Okay. I'm going to say the Reformatory because this is going to be a 5-star book. So that one's winning that one. No question here. No, I mean, I love Percy and Vex, but Vanya and Emmerich win. Oh God, this is, I can see exactly what's going to happen. Okay, obviously, as much as I'm enjoying the Reformatory, it does not have a romance. Romance is always going to win. It also does not have Vanya Schmidt. Vanya Schmidt is always going to win, except potentially, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win that one. I truly do not know who is going to win this. Okay, we're going to go with Holy Terrors. Okay, please know this causes me great pain. Okay, so, this is one of the ones that it's a book that I have read versus a book that I have, a book that I have not finished versus a book that I have. Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. We know this is going to be a fantastic book for Margaret. Margaret is going to really enjoy this. I haven't finished. I'm like 30 pages in still. Shh, don't, actually, no, not shush. You're supposed to be shaming me. Hey, Alex, welcome. Hey, everyone, I'm still working on, hold on, let's do it this way. I'm still working on The Lone Drow. I started on the second Heaven Officials Blessing today after DNFing another book. Beautiful. Welcome, hello. We're chit-chatting about what I have read so far this year. All right. More of me talking. Okay, so we have the Stephen Graham Jones book. This is a horror. It's historical. It is like kind of a story within a story, because we have a woman who has found a journal in the wall of a church, and it is the journal of a pastor who has gone missing. Went missing in 1912. Like they know he's dead at this point. Like they don't know what happened to him, but they know he's dead at this point. Do I still have, okay, good. I was like, do I need to switch my tea out for water or no? And he is her great grandfather. She says it in the book at some point. That was 3 weeks ago. Again, we are in a reading slump. Anyways, she's going through like giving us different entries from this journal that she found that was written right before he goes missing, and it is chronicling his interactions with a Blackfeet man that comes into his church one day. And I believe, because this is a indigenous vampire novel, I do believe that that this is our indigenous vampire. I don't like our main narrator, so it's been a little bit difficult to get through. I'm working on it. I'm trying. But he is a bit of a douche. Also a racist. Like, that's the big one. That's Anyways, it's very funny because he's trying to be like very like, oh, we all bleed red, and it's just like, yeah, that's not how you're talking about this person though, my dude. I'm sorry. Like, you're saying one thing, but you're behaving in a little bit in the, like, your thoughts are betraying you, right? He's doing the thing where, like, if I'm nice to your face, it doesn't matter how I talk about you behind your back, right? Taste of Marrow. This is also, okay, so this is a decent pairing. This is also historical fiction. It is the second in the American Hippo duology. Like, there's two novellas. This was really interesting. I think that so if you're going to read the American Hippo duology, I do recommend reading them like right after the other, because I think I would have liked River of Teeth a lot more if I had jumped directly into I feel like I would have liked all of this a lot more if it had just been one book, because I remember River of Teeth left me feeling really unsatisfied and like kind of meh about how things went, even though like it was a good book. It was well written. I really liked kind of the steampunk alternate history thing that's going on, because the whole premise of this world is that so in the US back in the 1800s sometime, there was like a suggestion put forward that to have enough meat and provide meat, to bring in hippos and start raising them in the Mississippi and use them as a source of meat. And it was shot down in real life, like real history. But this is the alternate history where that went through. If you know anything about what's going on, Pablo Escobar's hippos, you know how it would have gone if the hippos had gotten, like, there's this whole thing going because they brought the hippos over. It was a mess. So now you have people that do have tamed hippos, but then there's also feral hippos, and they're causing a problem for everyone. They're making the river very dangerous. Yeah, like there's entire parts of the Mississippi that people just, it's a risk to go on. And so, like, I mean, it's wild. This was much better, I feel. Like, I enjoyed this one more because it had a little bit more satisfying conclusion, which I understand because they're novellas and they're duologies, yada, yada, yada. I just felt like the first one wasn't a complete enough story in and of itself. And it would have been better just as one volume. That's my opinion. However, once again, I do know that Buffalo Hunter is going to, I'm liking Buffalo Hunter better. So this is going to be an easy one. I think I'm DNFing Awakened Mage. We will discuss the first book later, but I'm not, Sword of Kaigan so far, I'm not that far into it, like 100 pages or so, and it's a pretty chunky novel. I don't know if I would say I'm enjoying it. I'm intrigued because we're following two different points of view. If you haven't heard me talk, you've probably heard me talk about this like 75 times already on my channel, but we're following two different points of view here. We have a mother and a son in this so here's the thing. It's fantasy, but it feels very futuristic. Does this make sense? So we have magic. We have like hints at technology, and I haven't gotten far enough in to figure out, is this a situation where we're dealing with, so like this is based on some of the history of Japan, and so I haven't gotten far enough in to figure out, well, actually no, I have gotten far. There is technology, and it does feel like we are dealing, at least in Kaigan, we are dealing with a lower level of technology a little bit, like it's an intentionally restricted level of technology versus what the rest of the world has. But we have this kid, he's 14, and a new student comes to his school, and this new student is talking about what the rest of the world, like starts talking about stuff that directly contradicts what he has been raised as the son of a high-ranking family in Kaigen, what he has been raised to believe and to know about his empire. And then we also have his mother, who was a fighter before she married his father and became a housewife. And her thing is kind of just like she's saying that that's all she wants. Is she just wanted to be a housewife. She does not want to be anything else. But she's also kind of grappling with her like her past, where she was a warrior and she was a fighter. And it's very interesting to see like her kind of starting to rediscover this part of herself, while her son is also having to discovering for the first time some of the stuff that he has been basically lied to about. So this one is winning because I'm DNFing the other one. Okay, Grace of Kings versus House of Bane and Blood. I think it's going to have to go to House of Bane and Blood, because while I am enjoying Grace of Kings, it is not, I mean, like, here's the problem. I haven't finished either of these. So I can't tell you whether or not I am like, I'm impressed by the scope of Grace of Kings. You know, we don't always agree on things. However, I will say, House of Bane and Blood, I do actually like the characters. That's the problem. Grace of Kings, it's fascinating. I don't necessarily like the characters. And I don't know that we've really gotten into the plot. So, Grace of Kings is another book that is inspired by history, and it is, I don't even know how I can describe this, but we're dealing with how do I explain this without spoiling like 95% of what I've read so far? Because I'm like 3/4 of the way through this book. Another one that they got, I'm pretty far into it. Let me see. Okay, so House of Bane and Blood is really easy to explain. I'm going to start with that one, and then maybe I'll figure out how to explain this. House of Bane and Blood is a kind of steampunk fantasy-esque world where we're dealing with multiple factions, but the two main ones, we have this woman that her family is not doing well, and she is making a marriage to make things better for her family. And that's going to be really bad for one of the other factions. Also, should note, the night before she's getting married, she does sneak out, meet this dude. Dude shows up at her wedding and is like, this would be really bad, by the way. Like, this, like, not even like the fact that I met you last night and think you're hot and we had a good time, or whatever. I don't, God, I'm blanking on so many details. Shh, Brianna. Let me explain this methily. But he shows up at the wedding. He's like, listen, and this makes her so mad. It's so funny. She's like, you should have told me. He didn't know who you were, bitch. How was he supposed? Anyways, he shows up at the wedding. I mean, he did at the end, but like it didn't. Anyways, long story short, he shows up at the wedding. He's like, this would be bad. This deal that you're making with this person, bad. What if I paid you more to marry me instead? And so she does, and she's not happy about it. And her family, who has absolutely failed her in every conceivable way possible, as far as I can tell, is mad about this, but does nothing. Anyways, but she gets into this arranged marriage with someone she doesn't like, and then they start digging into some stuff. There's so much, and I don't know how much is spoiler because I don't remember how far I am into the book. It's fun though. They're so pissy at each other. I will say there's some places where the banter, I'm just like, guys, please calm down. Please. You're adults. But that's every romance for me. There's almost always a part in every romance where I'm like, bud, have we considered having an adult conversation? No, oh no, we're just gonna start taking clothes off. Okay. That's a me thing. Anyways, Grace of Kings is just a bunch of, like, it is chronicling the rise and fall of a dynasty and the repercussions of that. And it is fascinating. It's really messy. I don't like anybody in it, and I don't trust anyone in it. Right? Okay. Anyways, so just by the fact that I like the characters, this is winning. Oh, this is easy. Okay, so this is the 7th Percy Jackson book, Wrath of the Triple Goddesses, versus The Whispering Knight by Susan Dennard. I will give you guys 3 seconds to guess which one is winning. The Whispering Knight is the 3rd book in the Luminaries trilogy that Susan Dennard wrote, and it is this is kind of like a Gilmore Girls meets Supernatural type world where we have a main character that she lives in this very small kind of rural kind of like away from everything town. Like they have technology, they actually have pretty advanced technology because of what they do, but they are there because they're near this place in the forest that is a hot spot for supernatural creepy crawlies, and their society, the Luminaries, their job is to keep these creepy crawlies from leaving the forest, right? It's their job to make sure that they do not get further than they already are. Her family has been exiled because of things that her father did, and she is trying to get them out of exile by becoming a hunter. Anyways, she does that, but she becomes a hunter kind of through a lie. And in that lie happening, it happens because some other stuff is happening that no one will believe her about. So we're just watching her as she's trying to like fix her family's reputation, become the thing that she's always wanted to be, and also deal with the fact that like so much of what's going on around her is not what it seems. I don't even fucking know how to explain Percy Jackson without spoiling 6 previous books. This is Percy in his senior year trying to actually I do. It's Percy in his senior year doing errands for the gods because he needs them to get into college. Anyways, he's winning. He wins every time. I'm trying to think, does he win against Vanya? Like, does Annabeth win against Vanya? That's the question. I feel like I could have told if this was against Chalice of the Gods. Absolutely. Well, no, this is such a good book for Annabeth too, though. But also Vanya. Okay, this is an easy one. Wisteria versus Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. Okay, so Wisteria is the 3rd book in the Belladonna trilogy. This is a trilogy that should have been adult. The author wanted to write an adult dark romance. She did not. She wrote YA. This is the best one in my opinion, and the closest to YA in the trilogy, in my opinion. Like Belladonna and Foxglove. I remember reading it going, these feel like adult characters, which they are. The main character of Belladonna is 19 at the beginning of the book. That is my entire gripe with this series. This one actually felt like a YA, right? Even though it's like your typical like YA teenage girl with an immoral, it felt like a YA. She felt like a YA protagonist. I enjoyed it more. I think Belladonna, the mystery was a lot better, right? But I liked the character, the main character. I felt like she worked better as I don't know. Like I would say, if I were to choose a favorite of the series, if Belladonna were adult, I would say that's my favorite because I actually enjoyed like the mystery of who was killing her cousin, yada 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 yada. I don't remember much about Wisteria, to be fully honest. I do remember it feeling more YA. However, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy was absolutely delightful. I had, the Dozier School. We did get an answer about the Reformatory and the Nickel Boys. They're both fictional schools, but are based on the Dozier School in Florida. I understand that. Okay. The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy is absolutely fun. This is another one that is set in like a fantasy world. There are dead people that come back. One of our characters, his job is to make sure that to bring the dead people in, take care of them, bring them in. And then our other character, she runs a mortuary, and her job is to make sure the dead people stay dead. Actually, no, her job is to like basically she sells packages to people like him that are going out into these wilds to do the things that they're doing. I'm remembering things. She also it's her job to make sure dead people stay dead. And they do not like each other. They've known each other for years, do not like each other. He's a bit of a recluse. He's a bit of a grump. He's like part demigod. And then they end up having to work together for reasons I don't remember. It was not important. This is a romance. I don't care why they're working together. And it was really fun watching watching them banter against each other and then like slowly start to respect each other and all. So good. So much fun. This one's winning this one. Okay, this is an easy one. We've got Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a sci-fi, and we are following two different things. We have our main character, Zelu, who is a disabled, she is a disabled author, not having a great time at the beginning of the book. She's just been fired from her professor job. She's just had her agent drop her because they don't think her book is going anywhere. And so she sits down to write this novel, like just to write, like because she's pissed. She sits down, writes this novel that is actually very similar. If you like Service Model, I suggest reading this one versus and vice versa. If you like this one, I suggest reading Service Model. This one has got a little bit more movement in the plot than Service Model does. It's a little bit less, a little bit. We love a rabbit hole, Anne. It's a little bit less literary fiction. It is still very, very good. Anyways, Zelu writes this novel that is about robots in a post-human world. And it is so fascinating the way that these things twine together. We are watching as Zelu, her novel is like a hit immediately, gets a massive movie deal, book deal, blah, blah, blah. And we're watching her navigate the sudden visibility that gives her, the opportunities that gives her. We're watching the way that the resources she gets changes her relationship to her disability, changes her relationship kind of to her family. We're watching the way that she gets picked apart by the media for her own personal choices, all kinds of things. It is really, really good. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands is the second Emily Wilde book. That's all I got to say about it. It was good. I enjoyed it. I picked it up immediately after the first book because the first book hooked me. I had so much fun. However, this is still the better book. Death of the Author it's like right now, our top three are looking to be Percy Jackson, Holy Terrors, and Death of the Author. And to be honest, if we're going purely on a craft level, Death of the Author should be number one. It's not going to be at the end of the year because Vanya Schmidt. But okay. Next one this is an unfair pairing. So we've got The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This is, I will say, a very good book. Very hard. Make sure you're in a good headspace. There is a lot of this, like the entire plot kind of revolves around. So this is let me back. This is a book that Toni Morrison wrote. It's partly autobiographical, and it is talking like. It says it's about a young girl that wants her eyes to be blue because she knows that blue-eyed girls get treated better. She's not the main character, but a lot of the plot revolves around her and revolves around the fact that I'm going to give y'all a trigger warning for sexual assault and CSA. So if you need to mute me for a few minutes, go ahead and mute me because I can't talk about this plot without talking about those things. But it is following the story of a girl that is the plot revolves around I think she's like 13 or 14 and her dad sexually abuses her, and we're following it through our main character, which I believe is like Toni Morrison's kind of not insert but like stand-in in the story, primarily through her. But we are good. She delves so deeply into why these things happened. She delves so deeply into the lack of protection that Black girls are given, not only by their families, but by society, especially at this time period. It is a very hard book, one that I highly suggest reading. It is not one that I can say I enjoyed, but I am glad I read it. House with Good Bones is totally different. This is a horror novel. This got 5 stars. This is also, I'm having a good time with T. Kingfisher. This is following a woman that goes back to her grandmother's home. I don't even remember. She's had some like work, like she's lost her job. Some stuff has happened. I think she was supposed to go to an archaeological dig or something, and then she couldn't because it lost funding. Story of everyone's life. And then some weird stuff starts happening. Her mom's behaving weirdly. She's starting to notice weird things. She is an entomological archaeologist. That's what it is. Like bugs are her thing. And I say that with such conviction. I'm not entirely sure if the archaeologist part is correct at this moment in time, and I don't want to stop to look it up, but I know bugs are her thing because there's a whole thing where she's like, there's a whole thing about ladybugs in this. Anyways, weird stuff starts happening. It's very short. It's very good. It's disappearing from the, okay, is it back for you guys? Because it's back for me. Creepy as all get out. Oh my God. Like this is, T. Kingfisher is one of the few authors that is actually able, along with Stephen Graham Jones, actually able to creep me out. And I'll be honest, T. Kingfisher has a little bit more of a finger on the pulse of things that creep me out. Like I like Stephen Graham Jones because I like just enjoy his novels in general. I don't necessarily get creeped out by them as much as I get angry or feel justified, as I did with this one. This one and What Moves the Dead, they're so creepy. So creepy. Anyways, this is winning. Innocent Mage versus Spy Family. Spy Family's winning, I think. Purely because it's got a better plot. I don't even remember what happens in Volume 8. I just can tell you it has a better plot than Innocent Mage. Innocent Mage, nothing happens in that book. Everything happens, but nothing happens. Like I have never read a book that has so much stuff happen while nothing happens at all. Okay? And it was cute and it was quirky in book 1. Like it was so funny because I already read this with Brittany, and we were so intrigued by the way that it just like felt so like it felt so brand new, the entire book. And then you get to book 2 and it's again, nothing is happening while everything is happening. And I don't, anyways, it's not, goodbye. Spy Family, I don't even remember, to be honest, like basically so we're in this world where there is weather magic, and the royal family is the one that's in charge of that. They are the reason that this city country, like it's a city state kind of thing going on. They are the reason that it is protected from the outside world. They very much, there's like a bunch of like the outside world has kind of gone through a zombie apocalypse basically. And so they are protected in this city so long as this magic does not fail. And they've had a problem because they didn't think things through is what happened. They did not think things through when they decided that they were going to make the government this way and have the royal family be the ones that were in charge of the storm magic. But basically, the technical heir to the throne had no magic, zero magic whatsoever, would not be able to do the storm magic. So they had another child, even though you're not supposed to, because this is a finite space. You're only supposed to have one child, but they got an exception to that. Actually, no, the royal family is only supposed to have one child because you can only have one storm magic person, which sounds like a terrible idea, right? You would think you would want a bunch of people doing this. Well, Spy Family kind of just blurs together. Anyways, you would think you would have a bunch of people doing this, right? You would think you would have like a whole system. Like, yes, I understand. Like you would think you would have a whole system of people so that if someone dies or something happens unexpected, because this magic is very, like, it takes a toll on your body. The king is actively dying throughout most of this book, right? You would think you would have multiple people to share the burden, but no, they decided that was a bad idea because if multiple people, then there could be infighting, and we can't have infighting. Anyways, we are following kind of like a resistance that doesn't like the royal family type, doesn't like, because the royal family is part of, it's a stratified society, because the royal family is part of a society of people that came in, and kind of the line that they give is that, because I don't remember the two names, but it's basically the Normans versus the Anglo-Saxons, if you know that historically. They came in, provided this protection from the zombie apocalypse outside of them. I don't know how real that is because I haven't finished book 2. God damn it, I do want to know how real that is, so I'm going to have to finish book 2. I guess I didn't DNF that. Anyways, this is the most... I'm heated about this book. This might make my worst books of the year. It's potential. I might have to finish the second book because that might make my worst books of the year. Anyways, they came in and there was already a people with their own set type of magic that lived there, but they welcomed these people in and said, okay, yeah, we'll accept your protection. We've created a place where we have first-class citizens, second-class citizens. The second-class citizens are the people that are indigenous to this place. Again, well, I don't know if they were, because if it's based on the Anglo-Saxons and the Normans, the Anglo-Saxons also were not indigenous to Britain, but that's a whole other story that we don't have time to get into right now. Anyways, so they've been waiting for the innocent mage, which is supposed to be a mage that has no knowledge of magic, has had no experience with the Doran magics, the weather magic. And he is supposed to rise up and help them. And our main character in this is multiple points of view, but our main character in this is that innocent mage. And he ends up being brought into the service because he is one of these people. I don't remember what they're called. I know it's the Dornans and but the Anglo-Saxon stand-ins. He is one of these people that is supposed to, and he gets brought into the prince's service because the prince is put in charge of kind of like the social relationship between the Norman stand-in and the Anglo-Saxon stand-in. And we're following that. There we go. It's not a lot happens and everything happens. And I don't know, like, this makes no sense. Anyways, Spy Family is about a spy who is sent on a mission and he needs to get close to this government leader. It's in a fake kind of 1950s/60s East versus West Germany kind of situation. That's what this feels like. It's very much inspired by. And so he is sent to assassinate but this leader is very reclusive, and the only time people see him really is if they are invited to his house, because he almost never leaves the compound. And so his job is to get close to this man so he can assassinate him. And the only way they know to get close to him is to get to him through his son. However, our spy does not have a child, so he adopts a child and then tries to get the child into school with the son. However, the child is a telepath, so she's very smart for her age. And then when he's trying to get her into the school, it turns out that he has to have a wife. Like, they will not let him in without a spouse. And so then he recruits, he kind of meets someone, and he doesn't know it, but he has met an assassin. And her job is to assassinate people. And so you have these three people. He's a spy. She doesn't know that he is a spy. He doesn't know that she's an assassin. The little girl, because she's a telepath, knows everything. And so it's this little girl trying to keep these two people together and prolong the mission for as long as possible, because this is her first time having a family. She's like 4, and she doesn't want to not have a family. And so we're very early on still in this manga, but it's very fun. And I love these characters. I haven't been as impressed with the later volumes as I was with the first few volumes. Primarily because I'm having to deal more with characters that I don't like in later volumes, but it's still winning. Okay, so Buffalo Hunter is winning this one. Like Sword of Kaigen, I don't know how I feel about. Buffalo Hunter, I know how I feel about. I know I'm gonna like. I'm so sorry. I know you're going to be mad at me about this, Brianna, but what did you expect? Got to be Percy Jackson. Okay, this one's got to be Death of the Author, because as much as I enjoyed The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, not one of my favorite books of the year. Death of the Author was. Okay. I mean, this is another easy one. I gave T. Kingfisher's book 5 stars. I gave this 3 stars. Still more stars than Innocent Mage is getting at the end of the year. So that, okay, this is, okay. Obvious answer, Percy Jackson. God damn it. Obvious answer, death of the author. Again, one of these has Annabeth Chase. One of these does not. I will always side with Annabeth Chase. Except now. I don't know what to do, guys. How do I? You know, I'm going to have to go. Because here's the thing. And this is partly my fault for relying too much on Bookly, but I forgot. If you remember my mid-year freak out / calm down tag, my mid-year check-in, I said, and I quote, there were no Percy Jackson books coming out this year that would be able to dethrone Holy Terrors, and that Holy Terrors would have had decent competition if there had been a Percy Jackson book that came out this year. Now, this book did not come out this year. It came out last year, but I did not read it until this year. I forgot I'd read it this year. So I feel like by default, that means that Holy Terrors has to win this. Because I remember more, and I don't know how much of this is because I've read Holy Terrors more recently or because I just enjoyed it more. But I don't remember a lot of what happened in Wrath of the Triple Goddesses. I might have to just reread it before the end of the year, but I think this feels wrong. Oh, okay. Download the image. This feels very, very wrong, though. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. I don't like it. This doesn't feel good. But this may not be how things end at the end of the year, guys. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Did we find someone that I like better than Annabeth and Percy? Did we do that? I feel like I'm having an existential crisis. What is your best? Let me know what y'all's best. While I'm having the existential crisis, go ahead and let me know what y'all's best book of the year has been so far. Worst book of the year, I don't like. It's either going to be Innocent Mage or Manslaughter Park. Here's the thing: Manslaughter Park made me far angrier than Innocent Mage did, but I actually like the author of Manslaughter Park. My respect for her took a hit because of how much she dislikes Mansfield Park and how disrespectful she was to the source material and who she chose to be the murderer. But it's a better book. But also, I'm still fucking pissed about it. I don't know. That's going to be a hard one. Let me know if you're watching this back. Let me know your best book or your worst book for 2025 or both. We'll chat about that. I'm happy to hear any of your thoughts about these books. I'm happy to hear your thoughts about my existential crisis over whether or not these two books. None of this feels good. It feels really bad. I don't like it. Okay. Honestly, shockingly, Deepened by Ali Hazelwood has it for me right now. Okay. I've heard good things about that if you don't go into it expecting the wrong things. I'm not currently sure how I feel about Ali Hazelwood, considering the fact that she hasn't said shit about the whatever book it was that she blurbed. I don't understand. It's not that I don't understand that conversation. I understand that conversation. I haven't read Holy Terrors, so I can't really have an opinion. I can't. You're supposed to help me with these things, Alex? Why are you being no help? No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right. This is something that I have to go and wrestle with myself. Anyways. Hello, Hannah. How are you? So far, hold on. Let's go here. So far, my best book is the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan, or As Long as the Lemon Tree Goes. I can't choose. Thank you. I feel so seen right now. I also cannot choose. Like this feels this. Let me explain what this feels like. This feels like me having to choose whether I want to cut off my left arm or my right arm. I don't want to cut off both of them. But if I have to cut one off, I am left-handed. So we're going to go with the one I use less. That is a really intense comparison. Anyways, yeah, I don't know which book is going to make it to my worst books of the year as my most disappointing book. If we were to ask my most disappointing book, it's Manslaughter Park, because that one let me down the most. I didn't have high expectations of Innocent Mage, and the fact that it like got slightly above those expectations is probably why it got as many stars as it did. But anyways, again, if you're watching, let me know best book, worst book, whatever, either in the chat as we are chatting here, or let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from y'all in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know, did I make any choices here that you vehemently disagree with? Right? Just let me know that in the comments. I would love to hear it. I know, go ahead, write the essay, Brianna. Write the essay. I know you're going to tell me that House of Bane and Blood was not as good as Percy Jackson. I'm going to tell you that House of Bane and Blood does not have Annabeth. It also does not have Perkabeth. And they are God tier. God tier. Every single romance that I absolutely adore goes down to two fundamental types that were determined in the 90s by DC Comics, specifically by the DC Comics animated shows. They all boil down to either Batman and Catwoman or Superman and Lois Lane. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will link down below any of the videos that I mentioned. So if you're looking for those, give me like 5 minutes because I have to go like put the links in. But if you're looking for any of like the extended thoughts that I have on some of these books, go ahead and check the description. I will also put my mid-year check-in down there. I think I go over a little bit of the stats in that one, but not a lot of the stats. And then as soon as this video finishes processing, I will get timestamps down there for people. If you are, I mean, you're at the end of the video, so that's not going to help anybody, but I have rough estimates of when things happened. I don't know. But that is everything that I have, like literally, this is literally everything that I have read so far this year. Right? Like the fact that I was able to talk about everything that I have read so far this year in one video, disappointing. Shame me. Shame me in the comments. Apparently the only thing that motivates me is shame. And no one is bringing it. No one is shaming me, I might add. I've asked multiple times for people to shame me and to yell at me. And no one does. Y'all are way too nice. Anyways, it's fine. I'm, depending on the day, I might get defensive. Despite the fact that I asked for it. I will see y'all later. I am going to be doing, so if you're doing the mid-year scramble, we have sprints coming up today at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then also on Saturday on my channel at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I cannot shame people. I can only do spiteful motivation. Understandable. Understandable. Anyways, if you're looking for sprints, if you are looking for secret sprints, I am doing secret sprints for, in fact, I'll go ahead. I can get you guys the link. I'm also doing secret sprints tomorrow. If anyone wants to read Way of Kings along with me. Let me just pop this up. Oh, this is the wrong fucking channel. Hold on. Hold on. I need to... I've got to actually go and get the link a different way because this is the wrong fucking channel. I created a little... Okay, shut the fuck up. I do not care. I created a little a side channel for when I am. All right. If you want secret sprints, tomorrow at noon. But we have, those are mine. And then we also have Neva's sprints that she is doing, which I will grab you guys the link for, which are happening today. Announcements. Nope, that's not it. Where's figuring out where I put shit in my different Discords really is just fun. Okay, there we are. Okay, top link is Secret Sprints. These are Neva's sprints happening at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So in like 45 minutes. Anyways, and then I will have sprints again. I haven't scheduled them yet, so I can't send you a link, but because I'm confirming with a couple of people that they are going to be able, like it still works. But I will have sprints for Mid-Year Scramble on Saturday at 3 p.m. And thank you so much for joining me and chatting with me about books. And feel free to let me know more of your thoughts in the comments. Have a great day, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things.